Hello, hello. Welcome back to A Dose of Sass. This is a little bit of an impromptu episode because I had another episode planned with my friend Gabby, but then she posted some stuff on her story, and actually I saw it on her TikTok first, that I was like, we need to sit down and have a chat about this. So we're sitting down kind of like on the fly to have this conversation because we're both feeling kind of fired up about this today. And if you're feeling inundated by GLP-1s everywhere and just the way that culture and society is right now, you're in the right place. We're in the same boat. So, welcome, Gabby. We're just going to talk about a few things today that we're like
Some things
passionate
to
about.
talk about.
Things to talk about. So, well, we want to give a general note. Two things. One, a trigger warning. We're probably going to talk about our own personal history with eating disorder stuff. So, if that is a sensitive topic for you, proceed with caution.
Yeah. So secondly, and I said this on my stories, and hopefully one day I don't have to proceed everything I say with this caution, but if you are on a GLP-1, like you're not a bad person. This is not directed at you specifically. You are not doing anything wrong. We are not coming at you. We are not talking about you. We are talking about GLP-1s as a whole and specifically how the companies that make and market GLP-1s are going about it and what it's doing to our society, to our brains, to just to us in general and to the world that we live in. Because I know a lot of people on them, and I know they work great for a lot of people, and there is a ton of research coming out that they can do incredible things for people with like autoimmune illnesses and obviously people with diabetes, and like they are a good thing that we have unfortunately made a really, really problematic thing. So the problem is not GLP-1s, the problem is that we are abusing them. And so I just wanted like if you were on them, this is actually a really great episode for you to listen to just so you can kind of have self-awareness of like being able to check in with yourself and ask yourself these questions. And this is not an attack on the people that are on GLP-1s. It's we're discussing specifically more like the companies that are selling them.
Yeah, this is a conversation about the marketing and the language and how it can kind of get convoluted. One of the things that like we see GLP-1 commercials on every single TV show, every single social media. Like most of the time I kind of have gotten to a point where I just tune them out. But every once in a while I'll like tune in and be like, what are they saying? I'm like, what are they actually promoting? At one time I got one that was like it was like Zepbound or Manjaro or something that was like for sleep apnea. Like it wasn't even, they weren't even talking about weight loss. They were talking about sleep apnea. And they were like, it affects people like that are overweight. But it was like, I was like, oh, that's a new one. That's interesting.
Yeah. What's so interesting is and they came on back to back, and I was like, I feel like I'm in a Black Mirror episode. There was a commercial that was, I think it was like Jardiance, and it was one of those ones that's very weight loss specific. And the language in it is very like specific about taking this for weight loss and whatever, whatever. And then the next commercial was the Simone Biles one.
Mm,
And it was for Manjaro, and the language difference, I think it's really interesting if we jump into like the celebrity culture, how the Serena Williams ad versus the Simone Biles, she specifically, there's not a single mention of weight loss. It's very health directed and very specific to helping certain illnesses and diseases and conditions that her mom has. So that's why she's like promoting it because it's really helped her mom. And it was just so interesting. I'm like, these do the same thing essentially, and how they are being marketed, like the Serena Williams stuff versus Simone Biles and how they marketed it. It was just so interesting. And in my personal opinion, like one was like alarming and scary and like terrifying, and the other was like, okay, like it's for health. Like this is what it's supposed to be used for.
right.
So yeah, it's just really interesting.
Yeah. I think medical companies, diet companies, pharmaceutical companies, like all of the above, I think we're in an era with society where they have really like learned what words to and not to use. And
Mhm.
like we will talk about that, but like I find it really, and especially someone, I have a marketing degree, so I find it really fascinating when people like how people market things. And I'm like, oh, I know exactly who you're trying to target with this commercial in saying that. And one thing that really bothers me, um, is when people in these weight loss commercials describe fat people as people with obesity. When you
Mm,
describe fat people, overweight people, plus size people as having obesity or with obesity, I'm immediately like, oh, I know what you think. I
mhm,
immediately am like, oh, so you think that obesity is a disease that is
mhm,
like diagnosable and like is something that affects people like it's cancer. And
mhm.
I have a problem with that for a lot of reasons. If you want to know more about the scam that is the obesity epidemic, I recommend listening to Maintenance Phases episode about that, because it talks about how it's rooted in the BMI scale, which is garbage, and it has to do with health insurance companies trying to charge more once you get diagnosed as having obesity. And actually, I was having a screening phone call with my doctor the other day. I was like trying to set one up because I've got a new health insurance thing. And they asked my height and weight over the phone. And I was like, I know my height. I don't really know my weight. I can give you an average. And then immediately after giving them that, because I fall into some kind of BMI category, they were like, oh, we're going to need to screen you for diabetes. And I was like, okay, well, I don't have diabetes and I never had diabetes in my family. Do I need to do that? And they were like, yeah, because of your BMI. And I was like, oh, cool, cool,
So
cool.
messed up. It's so
So
messed up.
annoying. So it's things like that. They're like, uh, it's just this made up classification. But I find it so interesting that people just try to describe fat people as like having this affliction that like it's not your fault. It's like a disease. It can't be helped. Like this is something that's gonna help that. And like it's just a really weird and like dehumanizing way to talk
And
about
it's
it.
so much more nuanced than that. And honestly, it's a great segue into the whole GLP-1 thing because that's how they are marketing it as here,
Right.
have a cure now. And it's like, no, sure, it might not even, but it may make you lose weight, but it is not like there are so many other things like that could cause someone to be obese, whether it's mental health, whether it's other underlying conditions, like literally so many other reasons. And just handing someone another like a medication and just being like, here, this is going to solve it. Like that's not health, you know?
No. Well, and like, yeah, they market it as this cure, as sure, are there people that need to lose weight for their health? Probably. Yes. And does the GLP-1 help them? I'm sure. But not everybody, not a lot of people. And what people don't understand is that you can be healthy and fat at the same time. And
Mhm.
therefore, they see a fat person and go, "Oh, we've got something for you," instead of
Yeah,
just like maybe they're happy and healthy and okay.
exactly.
That's never the
Exactly.
assumption. And I feel like everything that we're saying is we're probably going to repeat ourselves as we're going through this episode. I'm like, oh, that'll flow nicely into this later.
Hmm.
Another thing, and this is what Gabby and I wanted to sit down and chat about, that she started talking about on her story. Another way that these GLP-1s are being marketed is talking about mitigating food noise. And we want to talk about what food noise is, what it isn't,
Hmm.
and our personal experience with that. And if you have been thinking about, hey, I might be struggling with food noise, or I've been considering a GLP-1 for food noise, like we want to talk about that a little bit. So Gabby, do you want to jump into that?
Yeah, and I think it's so normal. Like again, like if you have had those thoughts, like I would be surprised if the average, especially female, didn't have those thoughts. Like if you saw these ads, the way they describe food noise is hunger, which is not true. Like food noise is not hunger. Food noise is something that is extremely debilitating. It is something that where food, because of restricting food, you then are obsessive about food in your head. So like personally, I struggled with borderline anorexia and orthorexia. And orthorexia is basically like obsessive clean eating. And so my food noise looked a lot like literally feeling like all I could think about was what am I going to put in my body next? How many calories is it going to have? Is it going to fit into my macros? Is it going to make me look a certain way? Is if I'm going to a function, like, are they going to have this food for me? Like, it's literally because we're humans and we have to eat to literally stay alive, it consumes you to a point where your daily life and your life is affected and your mental health is affected. And It feels like you have these chains on you and you can't function because all you're thinking about is food. That's food noise. And the way that these companies are describing food noise is they'll say, like, lower your food noise. And then the next sentence will be, reduce your hunger. And so then it makes people think, like, oh, I feel hungry multiple times throughout the day. Like, do I have food noise? Or even, I have thoughts of, should I have dessert tonight? Or I really want to eat this cookie, but I shouldn't or I can't. That's not food noise. That is normal diet culture talk in your head. Food noise is takes it to another level. And yes, GLP-1s can be helpful with reducing that food noise, but only because they make you feel less hungry. They're not actually helping the root cause. So one of the biggest things that really frustrates me with like the marketing of these is people think like, oh, if I take these GLP-1s, I'm not gonna have this food noise anymore. But the only thing that it's actually doing is making you not hungry. And it's literally a mask. Like it's just masking the problem. It's not solving anything because I said in my stories, I'm like, if you're having that food noise, like that debilitating food noise where you feel like your life is affected by this voice in your head, the answer is an eating disorder therapist. Like that's what's going to actually cure it, like and heal it, not a GLP-1. A GLP-1's just going to mask it. And sure, maybe in tandem, like they can work together. That's something that you should be working with your doctor, with your eating disorder therapist. It's going to be different for everyone, but the only way to like fully heal it is to work with like a therapist, not to just to take this medicine.
Right. And I've seen people talk about their own personal experiences with GLP-1s, like big creators on TikTok, where they're like, yeah, it was really helping my food noise. And then I came off of it and that came all back. You
Hmm.
didn't address anything about the food noise. You literally
Yeah.
just like put it on a damper, put it on quiet for a little while, and
Hmm.
weren't eating enough. And then as soon as you start to have those hunger cues back and you start to like experience food noise again, food noise for me, like the important distinction I think you made, it's like you start to think like, oh, I can't go to this social event because I'm afraid of what kind of food they're going to have or not have, or what these
Hmm.
people are going to think about what I'm eating. Or for me, I dealt a lot with binge eating disorder, and that's like a whole other relationship with food, a whole other complicated relationship with food. And like it was a constant, not just what am I going to eat next, when am I going to eat, but it was how binge eating works is it relies on restriction. So you restrict all day long and then you kind of go overboard at certain points. And there's not just the shame involved of I shouldn't be eating this or I should be doing this or I should be doing that. But there's also, for me, it manifested in this interesting way of like could I have little binges throughout the day where I started like making my meals slightly bigger and like, will somebody notice? And like
Hmm. Hmm.
suddenly it wasn't just a chicken bowl, it was a double chicken bowl. And then it was a double chicken bowl with a large bag of chips. And then it was like, I started to convince myself that this was what I needed, even though I was like very much eating past fullness. And like I knew what I was doing, but like I was disguising it in a way that like nobody would notice. And it's this constant thought of how other people are perceiving my eating and how can I talk about my eating and oh, I'm joking about I can eat 3 donuts and like I'm still hungry and like people think that's funny. And it's just this, it involves a lot of like people's perception about my eating. And then there's a lot of hiding involved with the food and those kinds of thoughts. It's not just like, I'm hungry. What should I eat next?
Hmm.
That is a normal physical response. Like your body should be thinking that. And yes, you're going to have some thoughts that pop up about, ooh, I should have this and I should have that. And that's how our brains work because of diet culture and how our society works. But if it's a constant barrage of, I can't get my work done, I can't get my homework done, I can't go to class because I'm concerned about where my next meal is coming from and when I'm going to be able to eat that snack that I bought earlier, like that is the kind of stuff that is interfering with your life. And if that's the kind of food noise you're experiencing, I understand why you might want to jump into a GLP-1 because that's how they're marketing them to you. But
Hmm.
that's not the answer, at least maybe not right now. Please, our first suggestion is to seek professional help.
Hmm.
Seek an eating disorder therapist, tell your therapist, tell somebody. We'll try to put some resources in the show notes of this episode. But that is a whole different thing entirely. I saw a friend of mine, Shyla, she's a dietitian, posted a video today about like, oh, if you're constantly thinking about sugar and you think you're addicted to sugar, here are some questions to ask yourself. And she's like, did you eat breakfast today? Did you have coffee and air for breakfast, or did you actually
Yeah.
eat breakfast? Like, did you have you had 25 to 30 grams of protein at every meal today? When's the last time you had protein? Like, when's the last time this? If you're spending all day thinking about sugar, it's probably because you haven't eaten enough. Like,
Hmm.
hate to break it to you, but like most people aren't eating enough. And
Yeah.
like, start with asking yourselves those questions. And it's not, oh my gosh, I can't stop thinking about sugar. Maybe it's not the sugar, maybe it's you need to eat breakfast.
Hmm.
Like, just a thought. Let's start there.
Yeah, and it's and just like the vilifying of hunger. Like we're as humans, like you're supposed to feel hungry. It's it's actually really important that you do feel hungry because the second you like when you take these drugs or take any type of appetite suppressant, I'm someone who has ADHD and in my early 20s was put on Adderall and also at that time was struggling with like trying to heal my relationship with food. And so that was a really interesting time to like try like it was it's really difficult because I and this it's the biggest proof that like not healing it at the root is
Mm.
dangerous because on the days that I didn't take it, it felt like I was back at like I had all the food noise again, you know? And so
Mhm.
that was luckily at the time I was really deep in like recovering and like had resources and help and I was talking to people about that. And so I learned how to figure out like what my new hunger cues looked like and that is what makes me angry about the GLP-1s is like they just hand it out. They're like candy. They're like, "Here, take this. It'll fix everything." There's no educational resources that go with it because we just think like, "Oh, this is going to solve everything." And there it's not. You know, it's not actually going to fix everything. There's a lot of if you're having these issues with food and with food noise, there's probably something else going on like underneath that like needs to be worked out with like therapists and a lot more than just this one medicine. So it's the lack of educational resources, whether it be about food noise, whether it be about like just like diet and health and like how to actually create a healthy relationship with food, but also like what does healthy eating look like for you because it looks different for every person. Um, it's the lack of education and the lack of resources that we're because people don't understand, or maybe they do understand, they just don't care because of how obsessed we are with thinness. But like these companies just want money from you. They are billion trillion dollar corporations and pharmaceutical companies that are making so much money right now. It's actually disgusting. They don't give a crap about educating you on how to take this medicine in a healthy way. They just care about getting you on it and keeping you on it as long as possible. So if you are someone that is either thinking about taking it or is already on it, just like making sure you're like, okay, like if the goal here was actually health, how can I make that happen? The goal, because that's where you have to ask yourself, like, is the goal here thinness or is the goal here to actually get healthy? If the goal is to get healthy, which like it should be to like be healthy, not just to be thin,
Right.
then there is a lot of other things that have to go with that. I've heard so many stories of people who like when they take GLP-1s aren't eating enough protein, are getting osteoporosis, like early onset osteoporosis and like people's bones and like teeth are like I've had one of my best friends is a dentist and she talks about a lot she's seen a lot more cases of like teeth issues because your teeth are bones. And when you're not eating enough food, like your body breaks down. And I was thinking about like posts to make about this earlier today. And one of the ones I wrote down in my notes literally just says like, yoo-hoo, like eating food is not a bad thing. Like we've made this culture, and a lot of it has to do with like celebrities that are very popular right now that like not eating and being the thinnest skeleton version of yourself is beauty, and it's just not. It's just not.
Yeah, well, and like you said, hey, eating food is cool, eating food is okay and
Yeah.
normal. People like think it's a flex to it's not just these what I eat in a days. It's like how I skip lunch, how I stay hungry all day, how I love or like
Hmm.
stay full all day. I mean, like these little life hacks that they're framing as health hacks or health tips that are
Hmm.
really just avoiding eating
Yeah.
altogether, like eating as little as possible. I think it's so, I think it's silly. I posted about this in my vlog a couple days ago. I think this is mostly a silly trend, but unfortunately, I can't just take things at face value. I am going to think about the deeper thing. And, when people, it was like a trend, it still is, I think, to like shove their face with a mouthful of vegetables in the morning, like just like a
Yes.
handful of
Yeah.
spinach or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
For the most part, it's silly. Like people call it dinosaur time or whatever. Like I think for a lot of folks, it's not that serious. But I also think it is kind of like for some folks and like how they recommend it to folks, it's like trying to check all their boxes like as small as possible. Like it's like,
Yeah.
oh, here's my vegetable intake, now I don't need to eat vegetables with like the rest of my meals. It's
There's
like
no, there's no, there's no desire to actually improve their health. And
no.
I wish people could get really honest with themselves. And I'm so like your body, your choice. If you don't give a crap about health and you genuinely just want to look a certain way, sure, do it. That's your prerogative. I don't care what you do with
Right.
your body. However, I'd say 95% of the people would like to live a long, healthy, happy life and do it in a way that where they feel confident and they feel good in themselves. We are not creating a culture that is doing both. We are creating we live in a culture that literally only celebrates how your body looks. It doesn't matter what underlying health conditions you have. You could be, I mean, I'm sure everybody listening has probably heard the analogy of people asking a woman that has cancer and they're saying like, "Oh, you look so good. Like, what have you been doing?" And she's like, "Well, actually, like I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer and like I'm on chemo right now." And it's just you never know what people have going on underneath. And in this culture that we live in, we only celebrate thinness. We are not talking about actual like health, true healthy habits that are like sustainable and normal. I'm sure we're talking about health in general way too much from like a weird wellness perspective, like of weird things people are doing that aren't actually, the goal is never actually, I want to be healthier. It's always, people always have in their head just what it's going to do for their body from a looks perspective. And I really wish that that would change because I was a public health major. So like a lot of the way that I think is on a broader spectrum of like us as humans and like what we can do to improve people's overall health in general. And people just don't think that way because of this culture that we're creating and because of what we see every day in the media and what's celebrated.
Right. Well, there's like two things that people believe to be true. One, that health and thinness are one and the same. So
Hmm.
people go on this pursuit of, oh, I'm going on a health journey, when really what they mean is I'm going on a weight loss journey, or I'm going on a like I just want to be thin, and they're
Hmm.
not actually doing anything to promote their health. And two, Gabby and I were talking before we started recording that like if GLP-1s affected your health and didn't change your body, I think the way they would be marketed and the way that people would react to them now would be so different.
It would be so different if it was truly just a drug that helped, let's say, improve your cholesterol levels and like your whatever, like your blood work panel levels and didn't affect physically how you looked. Like, oh my God, the marketing would be so different. It would just be like any other like medicine ad that you
Yeah.
see. It we are obsessed. We are obsessed with bodies and how bodies look and talking about how bodies look and commenting on how bodies look. I was just home for Thanksgiving and I love my parents to death and I love them. I love them. I love them. But they're from Europe. My dad's Irish, my mom's English, and it is I've noticed it when I'm around my cousins. I've noticed it when I am in Europe. Like it is the number one descriptor when you're talking about whether it's like you're talking about a friend or you're talking about someone you saw on the street or you're talking. they describe people by what their bodies looked like. And
Mhm.
it's just normalized. And it's not even like malicious, like saying that it's good or bad. Like it's just, it's how they describe people. And I really noticed it when I was home over Thanksgiving. And I need to at some point have a conversation with them about it because I'm like, it's, why is that the first thing that we notice about? It's just, it's really interesting, this culture we have created.
Yeah, I find it so interesting, especially if you're home for the holidays, you're around people you haven't seen for a long time, that like not only is maybe their first reaction to you is like, OMG, you look great, or like good to see you, or something that has to do with your physical appearance, but like you'll find yourself talking. I find myself like having conversation with family members where they're like, oh, did you hear about so and so, or did you see so and so? And it's always like, they gained a lot of weight or they lost a lot of weight or like they look really different, and it's not like they had a baby or they got married or they got a job. Like it's nothing about their life updates. It's always like, did you see how they look? And like,
Yeah.
how boring, how uninteresting.
I know, I know. And I know one of your favorite sayings is like your body is the least interesting thing about you. And it is true, but I wish more people understood that because we were talking before this about like celebrities, like obviously with movies that have come out recently and things that are happening, just like award shows and when we see celebrities on our TVs, they're wasting away. And if our bodies are the least interesting things about us, it should go both ways because we were talking about how it's so you go onto the comments of some of these celebrities posts and all people are talking about in the comments is not about the amazing performance they just put on in this movie or how incredible they did with this or how talented they are. It's always about their bodies. On the smaller end of the spectrum. And so if we're gonna rally and advocate to not comment on people's bodies from that perspective, it should also be true on the other end of the spectrum. Like I know you were saying if you want to talk about like some of the comments that you get and it's like, well, why don't I get the same reaction?
Right. I saw this video of someone talking about like, yeah, it's all great that we are trying to defend these celebrities who are getting lots of comments of, concern for their size and them looking small, them looking ill. That's all well and good, but if we're going to be doing that, or if we're going to be saying, hey, let's not do that, then we need to do that for fat people too. Like I get comments constantly of people concerned for my health because of the way that I look in my body, despite the fact that people don't know what my health is like by looking at me. There's just the assumption of, oh, they must be struggling. And what's so interesting is like, if you see a thin person, it's always, oh no, they must be struggling with like maybe they have anorexia. If you see a
Hmm.
fat person, it's always like maybe they have binge eating disorder. When
Hmm.
you and I both know eating disorders don't have a look.
Hmm.
Like they just don't. They don't have a body size. They don't have a weight limit. Actually, according to I think it's NEDA, the National Eating Disorder whatever um organization, under it's like something like less than 6% of people actually are flagged as like underweight for anorexia.
Mm.
Like so many eating disorders are not visually apparent.
Hmm.
So many people are struggling with a relationship with food, disordered eating, full on eating disorders that has nothing to do with the way that they look. And so, first of all, we don't need to be in celebrities' comment sections diagnosing them with eating disorders because we don't know them. And what
Hmm.
the problem with that is not like, I'm not saying don't be concerned about them because, like, my friend Laura made a great video about it, and I'll probably tag it in the show notes. But she's like, yeah, I'm worried too, but like, let's keep it in our group chats. Like, we don't need
Yeah.
to be talking about it publicly on the internet because the celebrity is not the one seeing it. That's the thing. Is the people that are seeing it are the young people, the other people in your life that are struggling and therefore aren't going to be dissuaded from their eating disorder behavior because of your concern for somebody else. Like they're
Hmm.
going to see that and actually be like, "Oh, I don't know. It's just not it's not helpful.
It
It's
just it perpetuates this
yeah.
culture of your body is the most important thing about you.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
like it continues this narrative of your body being the thing that people are going to comment on when you've literally just created this masterful piece of artwork. It's like
right.
it's still why is the body the thing that's at the forefront.
Right. And of course, like I don't like that celebrities are getting tiny and Hollywood is getting smaller and everyone's on GLP-1s and like everyone's got jokes about, comedians are joking about everybody being on Ozempic and like I hate that. It's gross. I don't like that as our culture and our society right now. But like policing people's bodies
It's like we can
isn't going
talk
to
about
fix
the
that.
problem without policing people's bodies or without having to comment on like specifically on people's bodies or assume we know what's happening with
Right.
people's bodies.
People are constantly sharing like before and afters of these celebrities' bodies as disguised as concern when really you're honestly just sharing like Tumblr inspo pic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're just feeding the fire. It's not doing anything.
Yeah. Something I wrote down while you were talking, it reminded me too, like while we're talking about all of this, whether it's like GLP-1s and all of that, like why is this important? Like, because I know a lot of people can be like, well, yeah, like, but like people are losing weight. People are in air quotes getting healthier. People are like taking their health more seriously. One, they're not actually taking their health more seriously. They're just trying to change their bodies. But two, it is dangerous to have an unhealthy relationship with food and with your body. As someone who had an eating disorder and has recovered, but it is like recovery is forever. Like it's something that ebbs and flows. I think about all of these young women who I know are going to struggle with their body image and with their relationship with food probably for the rest of their life now. Like it's it is dangerous to have an unhealthy relationship with food. It's dangerous for your mental health. It's dangerous for your relationships. Like it's not fun. Like I think we really romanticize like not eating a lot and like being tiny and Pilates and yeah, like if that works for you and that is your most healthy version of you and you feel great and that's awesome. But if that's not you and you just are doing it to try and achieve the certain look or whatever, I need people to understand. I wish people would understand that going down this path of obsession with health and fitness and with your body and with what your body looks like is extremely dangerous. Because also, if you are someone who has an obsessive personality or maybe has like OCD or has anxiety, these and has ADHD, like these disorders, these eating disorders can affect you on a much more serious scale. And the thing with eating disorders that's really interesting is like you don't just like you don't like pick and choose. Like, okay, I'm done now. Like
Right.
I don't it doesn't work like that. It is all consuming. And you don't get to choose when it starts or stops becoming all consuming. You kind of just like wake up one day, at least for me, it was like I woke up one day and realized like, holy moly, like for the past 3 years, like my life has been consumed with this. And I finally realized like I need to do something about it. And I've had friends that have been in inpatient and outpatient centers who literally were close to death because of how malnourished they were. Like, not eating is not a funny, cute thing. Not eating can kill you,
Right. Yep.
period.
Period. Like it's not, yeah, it's not cute. It's not fun. Yeah, like you said, it gets romanticized on social media. I just saw a post this morning of someone saying, like, another thing that we have to remember is that these people whose lifestyles that you're trying to emulate of going to Pilates and drinking your green juices and not eating lunch, that is their job on social media. If your job was to like go to the gym and wear cute clothes and eat perfectly, you would like easily lock in too. Like you
Yeah,
would
I think I saw
like,
that one
yeah,
too.
I was like, it
Yeah.
was like, it's not your lack of discipline. It's not like you're not trying hard enough. It's not that you don't have willpower. Like we do not all have the same 24 hours in a day. You do not need to emulate that one influencer's lifestyle.
And even if you did, you wouldn't look like them.
Right. And that's
We
good.
literally
That's
like we could
okay.
do the exact same exercise, eat the same. I love that analogy of like I love when I've seen a few like sets of twins do it where they're
Mm,
like we have lived together, we've grown up together eating the same food, and like, yeah, like we obviously look similar, but like they still look different. Like literally
Right.
even with the same DNA, like y- even you're not going to look like that person, you know? And
Yeah.
it's just weird. Social media scares me. This is what like I'm so terrified because I'm thinking about like having children, and like my little sister just had a baby girl, and I think about like when I was in middle and high school and Instagram had just been created and it was not what it is today. I can't imagine growing up in with the what social media is now. It's terrifying. Like
Yeah.
my frontal lobe just recently fully developed, and I feel like I still struggle with like
Yeah.
consuming all this content. I can't even imagine um like teenagers these days. It makes me scared and really sad.
I know. I know. So I think just some final notes and takeaways. First and foremost, stop being online.
Yeah.
Stop
Yeah.
scrolling,
Touch
get
grass.
offline, go touch grass. Like if you're feeling overwhelmed by, oh my gosh, it's winter and I need to like start, summer bodies are made in the winter and that kind of garbage and GLP-1 commercials everywhere and everyone is on some kind of health journey. Take a step back, log
Mhm.
off of Instagram and like go have a snack, drink some water, take
Yeah.
a nap, touch some grass. Like you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And second thing, let's stop commenting on people's bodies, good or bad. I know
Mhm.
you've got concern for them. That's great and well. Keep it to yourself. um,
Number three, feeling hungry is normal. Like you're supposed to feel hungry, and feeling hungry is a normal, natural human response. And you're not supposed to quiet that. You shouldn't quiet hunger.
quieting hunger means eating,
Yes.
not just like turning it off.
That right there, that one.
Right. If you're struggling with food noise, please seek some help. Understand the difference between food noise and hunger. What else did we say?
I think you covered it pretty
That might
good.
have been it. That felt good to get off our chests.
Really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
I hope you feel good listening to this. If you have questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, our DMs are open. Thanks for chatting, Gabby.
Yeah, I've got a few really good like eating disorder therapists that I follow on social media that I'll send you their information. I highly recommend. I think one of the very last notes I'll make is one of the things that helped me recovery the most. Like people always ask like if you could give one piece of advice for someone trying to create a healthy relationship with like their food, their body, the gym, what would you say? If you are someone who's online a lot, which is 99% of us, creating the space on your feed that you see, making it a safe space was the biggest thing for me because I used to be super into like fitness and all I followed was fitness influencers. So in my head, I thought everybody else is obsessed with fitness. Everybody's obsessed with going to the gym. Everybody's eating this. And so that's what I just thought was normal. And like if I didn't do that, then I wasn't normal. And then when I kind of like, again, like you said, took a step back, logged off, touched some grass, and I created a feed that was so much more diverse, like had different body types, had body types more like mine, had body types of bodies not like mine, like seeing people talking about anti-diet culture stuff, it normalized it for me and it made it like you get to create the world that you have on social media. You get to create the bubble that you live in. So make it a safe one. Make it one that is like a safe, comfy space for you and doesn't make you constantly question if you're like doing enough or like being enough. Um, Make it a safe space. So I have a couple like recommendations for accounts that you can add into your feed that will like help you cultivate a better relationship with food and your body. Because I think that's just like the easiest, most tangible piece. There's so many other things, but like as far as tangible advice of things you can do today, that's like the best thing you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a huge one because it's so subconscious when you're
Hmm.
spending all this time on your phone. Like it's nice to say, hey, get offline. And I do encourage that. But I know we're all going to be on our phones. So, like,
Hmm.
if you're going to be on your phone, make it a good
Make
one.
it a comfy space.
Yeah, that's great. Hope you're feeling a little bit more encouraged or at least, solidarity in this conversation. And thanks for listening.
Yeah, chat soon.
Bye.